Alrighty, well, welcome to this week's Tokwa Ask Us Anything. As usual, there's been a fair bit of news around, more just in the last couple of minutes that I've added to my list. One of the less Tesla sort of oriented news items is that I think it was Gwynne Shotwell said that Starlink is only 5 launches away from full global connectivity, which is going to be really interesting. As we know, I think it's our New Zealand cousins have actually already got the Starlink beta available, and Australia has had reservations for a couple of months now, I think. So it's going to be really interesting to see how quickly Australia will come online once we get a few more launches or under their belt. But basically another 300 satellites and that's it, job done. Sorry, 180 satellites and the job will be done, which is awesome to see a Tesla associated company doing that.
Would have been very useful in Kalbarri last week.
Indeed, yes, and those I believe there was a Sky Muster internet truck sent up by I presume Telstra, but of course that's a huge piece of infrastructure. Whereas if you just had a Starlink user terminal, I mean, it fits inside a briefcase. So, you know, you could basically, and you just have a 12-volt battery or power supply well, hooked up to anything. And there you've got Wi-Fi internet, you know, at 100 megabits per second. So, yeah, that would have been pretty awesome. And I dare say our SES will obviously be one of the early customers because it would make sense to be a customer of Starlink for situations just like those people in Kalbarri and the Midwest had to endure last week.
But even before that, we were there the weekend before, and because of the sheer number of people, obviously it was the long Easter weekend, but with COVID as well, because of the record number of people, Telstra 4G and 3G just completely went offline the whole weekend. And then when it came on the whole week, the most I could get is a page, one web page loading up every 5 or 6 minutes. So it was just unusable.
So it's just saturated. So I presume possibly people were probably, you know, trying to watch Netflix and stuff like that while on holidays, perhaps, using their mobile devices.
Or trying to log into Tokwa Zoom.
You went on Vodafone.
Now that's no way to speak of yourself there, Pete, you know.
That's what we're doing.
Do we have any idea of the cost of this thing relative to other internet service providers?
Yes, it's the buy-in price, was it $500, Pete, from memory?
Yeah, for the kit. Yeah, I think it was closer to about 700, I thought.
Yeah, closer to 700, including the postage, I think.
Sorry, right, yes. And is it 150 a month?
139, I think.
139.
Yep.
139. Which you got to choose your poison. You know, obviously you can get NBN deals cheaper than that. I guess the real use will be if you can make this mobile. I mean, it is a mobile device. Once it becomes released to be mobile or given permission to be mobile, then it really is a magical thing for, you know, to put on the back of a caravan or I mean, we even have, you know, some members that are planning to actually forego Australian internet altogether and just use Starlink.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's a good thing or not. I mean, on the numbers, if you believe Starlink, they're going to get pretty good ping numbers and good throughput. So it certainly gives you that flexibility.
So the price was $709 with $100 for shipping and handling. So $809 and $139 a month.
Cool.
Is that US or Australian?
Aussie, Australian.
Right.
And just to be clear, you can't take them traveling. They're not designed to work that way. Starlink is designed so that your individual router is allocated to a cell, which is a single geographic location. If you move to another location, you need to have it reprogrammed. So It's not designed as a mobile internet platform in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, I think in the States in particular, SpaceX are applying to actually have it on mobile vehicles or things, including the SN15.
So to be clear, you can move it around within a small geographic area, but you couldn't take it to Kalbarri. You'd probably be in another cell.
Yep.
Because you're on another satellite, presumably.
No, it's a geographical area because the satellites are all moving.
So, that's right. So the satellites move, but
right.
But your downlink is allocated to a particular geographic area, and so that's how the system works. Look, if you move house or if you shift to Sydney or whatever, you can have it reprogrammed, but it's not something that they will do arbitrarily if you want to take it on holiday.
I dare say at this stage, Ken.
Yeah, that technology, that may change, but now that's the way it works. Yep.
I wonder, Ken, if that's just going to be a firmware update or some sort of a over-the-air update that might unlock it from its geolock somehow, or whether that's a hardware thing.
It'd be a simplification.
In the current design build, it's a hardware thing. So it's about geometry and downlink and how the satellites do that. It's not actually a geofence in software. It's actually a physical thing. But there's nothing to say a future Starlink receiver could be advanced in such a level that it could cope with that. But the current one doesn't. It's a physical hardware limitation.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, moving right along on a bit of a frivolous note, it's been widely publicised now that Tesla's had a couple of Easter eggs, mainly voice command Easter eggs that all in keeping with Elon Musk's excellent sense of humour. If you do the voice memo voice command, and pronounce open butthole, then that would be an excellent way to open your charge port door. And if you're so inclined, you can also then say close butthole, and that will close your charge port door. Shout out to Elon, who watches us regularly for that Easter egg.
and yet I still can't open and close my sunroof by voice command. Elon, I know you're listening because he watches the.
Isn't it because you don't have a sunroof, Ken?
That's because sunroofs are another unicorn thing, and.
So I don't know who actually first found this Easter egg, because a big shout out for the person that thought it was a cool thing to try and say open butthole and to see what happens.
God.
Very smart.
You've got to wonder.
The command open arsehole does the same thing.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I saw it on YouTube about an hour ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, without wanting to violate any of YouTube's terms and conditions, do you have to say arsehole or can you say asshole? Oh dear, it's enough of that.
It was originally discovered by someone who managed to get hold of the vocabulary list, and then they went, "What does that do?"
Right. So no one actually just sat there thinking, how will I sleep in my car today?
Technically, it's incorrect because it takes electrons in, not out.
Unless it's for someone that's known for not speaking the truth much, and then perhaps there's a good analogy there. But anyway,
maybe.
Now, in some financial news, Tesla's Q1 earnings call has been announced as being held on Monday, the 26th of April, which for us will be 5:30 a.m. on the Tuesday, the 27th. So for those who've been looking at Tesla's share price, it's been a bit happy the last couple of days, and it's looking like being happy again today, which is nice to see.
$780.
Yeah, and for those technical share traders, it's broken through its 50-day average, which is an indication of strength.
Yeah. In a breakout.
Yes.
And for the fundamental traders, Street is expecting 71 cents earnings per share on the 26th. That's the consensus. I checked this morning. So,
and I think a couple of analysts were going for about 83 cents. They were predicting 83 because they're trying to factor in the unknown
regulatory credits, which is the big unknown. Yeah,
which is huge. That's a huge unknown, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll get on to the VegPod tests. So John Edwards hosted a test for the VegPod. Basically, it's a diesel generator that's been converted to consume waste vegetable oil, and basically pumping that into a Tritium 50 kilowatt fast DC charger, and then into a significant number of Teslas and other EVs too, I believe. And basically what happened was they, on the day, they consumed 112.3 litres of waste oil and generated 359 kilowatt hours of energy. So that resulted in 3.196 kilowatt hours per litre of basically waste oil, vegetable oil. And that was very favourable compared to diesel. I think the comparison was there was it was about 5%, 95% the energy equivalent of diesel, which basically means there's no real compromise as far as output's concerned. And that test basically went for 8 hours. Yes.
Those figures are incorrect. The difference between diesel and the waste oil is actually 10.5%.
Great.
Because when we did the diesel test, we recorded the kilowatt hours at the car.
Right, but not at the. So
yeah, so on Sunday they recorded it at the charger, and then you've got to add the loss of the charger. Now John's assuming that's 95%.
Yep.
So if you factor in that, there the it's around about 10.5%.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually still very
Still good. Still good.
I was expecting closer to 20%.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's very good. Yeah. I do have an issue with the nitrous oxide results because they're saying it's half, and all tests I've read on burning cooking oil, nitrous oxides actually increase per unit of energy produced.
I would have thought that nitrous oxide, and I'm only an engineer, not a chemist. I would have thought nitrous oxide is mainly generated when your combustion process is hotter, because you're effectively oxidizing the nitrogen that's in the air. So I would have thought the veg would have run a bit cooler, which is probably why it's not actually putting out the same amount of energy per unit volume of liquid. So you'd expect a lower nitrous oxide, but nitrous oxides, but yeah, not half. That might be a bit spurious.
Yeah.
But I guess the main point is it's not more polluting. So, you wouldn't want people to worry that there's some aspect of the veg oil that's going to make worse pollution than perhaps refined diesel, for lack of a better term.
At the end of the day, they're probably going to be burning, a couple of 100 litres per month of veg oil.
Yeah.
Now, the Goldfields burns more diesel than the whole of Victoria put together. So
yes,
I don't think we should worry about a few hundred litres of veg oil.
Yeah, I wonder how much waste vegetable oil there is in the world today.
Tons. Megatons.
Really?
Well, there's a lot. It's a huge problem for the restaurants. They have to, you get Ren oil, or not, I don't know if it's Ren, but there are, companies that make money out of recovering the oil. And it's an expensive waste product to get rid of, because you just can't stick it in. Well, I guess you can stick it in landfill, but
I actually asked John about this on, say, the roadhouses, and he said they have more than enough vegetable oil to run these generators. And I said, well, what are they doing with it at the moment? Some guy must come around and take it. And he goes, no, they just stick it into drums and then go and get a front end loader or a digger and dig a hole and chuck it in somewhere or near them. That's what they're doing to get rid of the vegetable oil. So to burn it is and create something useful is a pretty good idea.
And
Definitely better.
It's preferable than letting it probably decompose to methane, which I don't know, it may do eventually in landfill, perhaps. I'm not sure of that, but and I guess one point is it is an eminently renewable resource because it literally is all plant-based. So all those plants absorb that CO2 to turn it into the hydrocarbon it's basically long chain hydrocarbons in the first place. So, and look, it's better than the alternative, which is more ICE cars traversing the outback than EVs.
Yeah.
Because an EV burning on coal-fired power plant is more efficient than a lean burning petrol car, or at least very similar. Actually, it might be a good time. We've got other news items on, but it might be a good time to introduce some new people, some new faces, which I see a few. So I'd like to welcome David. I think there's only one David. Yes, David, welcome. Tell us about your car and buying experience.
Well, I think I bought it from the front seat of Pete Petrovsky's car, and probably the idea was put into my head by Rob Dean at a high school alumni function. Took about 2 years to actually sink in, and I bought a M3 long range made in China vehicle, as it turned out. If I had have known what it does and how it operates, I probably would have bought it earlier. I'm not a real car person. I'm not a car enthusiast. I've owned Mercedes 560 SEL before, but that's by luck, I think. I had that for 10 years. I've had a couple of X5 BMWs, but I'm a sort of an A to B to A person driver, and I do more running and cycling than I do driving in kilometres in a year. But I'm actually looking for places to drive this to. So, yeah, I'm quite enthusiastic about it, and I've spent heaps of money already on accessories. Got a spare tyre already in a manufactured Ford wheel to fit it, because there's not a lot of 19-inch rims around the place. I've ordered a trolley jack, and I think I'll be good to go to the country. So,
did you get the FSD, full self-driving?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
Pete's responsible for that as well. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to driving it. Tried a lot of the features out. Had a couple of annoying park assist unavailable messages, which I've been reading on Facebook. Other people have had too, but someone's saying that that's a known problem. They sort of go away if I power off the screen and leave the car for an hour or so, and then come back and it's fine. Yeah, other than that, there's been no real issues. Took it to Bunbury on the weekend, a couple of superchargers at Eton. Managed to avoid an idle fee, got the first warning. So yeah, I'm learning as I go, but I'm finding the Facebook feeds incredibly helpful, and I'm hoping that the Car Club will be the same.
Well, speaking of which, you mentioned the spare tyre. I'll quickly put this up, which is, this is actually, well, this isn't ours, but we have one exactly like this that is freely available for members to use. So that's a Modern Spare Model 3 spare tyre that comes complete with the kit, with a jack, wheel brace. I think it's got, there was something else it's got as well.
Hasn't it got the wheel nut cap remover?
Yes, that's it. So it's got everything that you need. Oh, and does it have a puck? Does it have a...
No, it doesn't have a puck. Oh,
okay. We'll have to put a puck in it. But basically, you can borrow that, David, for free from the club for a road trip.
What size is it?
I'm not sure. I think it's 9. inches, it's basically suitable for both the SR Plus long range and performance, particularly performance versions of Model 3. So it's a universal spare tyre. It's a skinny spare.
I think you mean 18-inch, Harold?
No, yeah, I think it's 19.
It's 18-inch tyre wheel, but the rolling radius is the same as all the others. So.
Is it 18, is it, Richard?
Yep.
But it's configured to fit the brake calipers on the performance cars, which have 19-inch wheels.
20-inch wheels.
20-inch wheels, sorry. Right,
yeah, yes. Mine's got 19-inch wheels.
Cool. So that's a universal spare. We also actually do have a spare aero wheel as well, but that's only suitable for SR Plus cars or some long ranges if you ordered it with the aero, well, long range as well. So that's something you can also borrow from us, David, as well as various charging adapters, cables, all sorts of stuff. Now,
hey, Harold, I might as well mention, if that tyre is out on loan and you don't have another one, I've got a fifth original wheel, Model 3 18-inch wheel, even with the aero caps. So if anyone's going country and they need one, more than happy to lend it out for free.
Cool. Now, Tom, I think from memory you're new, or I could be mistaken.
Yes, I picked up the car about 3 weeks ago, I think. And one of the reasons I'm on tonight is that I organised to borrow the Cord to go to Margaret River. And I think Ken sent through a note saying that it was unnecessary. And if it's unnecessary, then there's not much point in taking it. But what he sent through got lost somehow. I'm not sure whether he sent an email or whether it was an SMS, but whatever it was, I can't find it anymore.
That's cool. We can do it live. So you've obviously got a
long range
app called PlugShare.
Yep.
So yeah, cool. So the first thing to do is actually put in the correct filter. So obviously you can do supercharging. You can use Tesla's chargers. Do you have a Type 2 to Type 2 cable?
No.
Okay, so we tick that off, and you don't have 3-phase, and you've got CCS. So now when you're going to Margaret River, you'll firstly notice that you've got Eaton, get it right, that one there, the Eaton supercharger.
Yep.
And that's only 150 k's from town, from Perth. Yep. And then if you're at Margaret River, you've actually also got a few, well, you've got the RAC highway,
yep.
CCS charger, which
may or may not be fixed.
Which may or may not be fixed. We've got 23 kilowatts.
Yeah, so people the AC cable is fixed, but the CCS cable I think is still faulty down there.
Okay.
So you can charge at you can charge off the captive Type 2.
Type 2. There also are a few, depending on where you're staying, there are a couple of, like at Voyager Estate Winery, there is
that's a Porsche charger.
It says Tesla here.
Oh, that's a Tesla one. Yeah, sorry, I'm confusing it. There's another one. There's ones that swings around about, says a Porsche charger, and there's a couple of other ones around there that Porsche put in.
Actually, and the Porsche chargers are tethered.
They've got a Type 2 tethered cable.
Yeah. Okay. So this on PlugShare at the moment, because I haven't selected Type 2, because normally Type 2 you need a cable, Type 2 cable, which incidentally you can borrow from the club for free for a road trip.
Yeah, which is what the conversation was. But I'm not aware of any untethered 2s in the Margaret River region. Every 2 down there has got a cable.
In which case, there's no point in me picking it up.
That's what I would suggest. Yeah, I don't think you need it for this trip.
No, that's fine. Probably in 3 weeks or so, I'll be going to Albany, and I might need it for that. So I don't want to take it if I'm not going to be using it.
Yep. Well, your trip to Albany, the most useful. Well, hey, Albany's varied as well. When you go from Perth to Albany, if you're going the Albany Highway route, there is a free 50 kilowatt charger at Kojonup.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yep, cool. And then you've also got a Tesla destination charger at the Civic Centre or the Visitor Centre.
Yep, behind the library.
Which it's not the best. The cable's a bit. Oh, it's actually not too bad. It's a little bit stretched, but it's not too bad in that parking spot. So that's in the centre of Albany. So you can certainly, and you've got a couple of hotels. So you've got the Amity, Country Comfort Amity. They have a Tesla destination charger. Some of the other places do as well, but you've got to note that they have reduced rates of charge. But overnight, it's fine. So I think L Street Apartments is on reduced kilowatts. I think it's, 4 kilowatts.
Yeah, I think it's a 20 amp single phase.
And the Albany Harbourside, I think they're
about 4 kilowatts as well.
Yeah.
That's where
I think it's a 20 amp single phase as well.
Yeah, I stayed there and it charges at about between 4 and 5, which was fine overnight.
Yeah.
And there was a report this week that the Kojonup charger under ChargeFox is faulty, and they know about it, and it's going to take however long it takes to fix it. But I expect by the time Tom goes down in 3 weeks, it should be done.
Oh, right. It says, according to Troy, it says charger offline. Looks like no power at all on the unit itself.
That must be brand new because it was in use earlier this week.
It was April 14.
That's today.
Yeah, that's what I said. There was a report on Facebook somewhere about it, and he contacted ChargeFox, and they said, yes, we know that there's a fault there. We'll have to send someone to fix it.
Right.
Rightio. Okay, so in that case, well, in 3 or 4 weeks' time, that fault will be cleared. But the alternative method is to go the coastal route and then the Southwest Highway to Albany, which is a longer route but more picturesque. And in a long range, you'll get there easily from Eton to Albany.
Oh, you drive there easily from Eton to Albany, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the alternative route, is go via the coast and then the Southwest Highway.
The other little trick I do is that over here, because I'm in Queensland at the moment, but we book into places, and I just ring them up and I say, any chance I can plug into your 10 amp outlet to charge my car up overnight? And they always say, yeah, sure, because they've got no idea. So, yeah, you plug your car in. And I just plug the car in overnight in the unit. I have to string a cable out of the bed and breakfast window, but that's all right. It works.
Yeah, I've
done that several times.
Of course, on the eastern seaboard, you've got a few fast DC chargers just quietly.
There are quite a few more options.
There are quite a few.
When you go inland, though, no.
True.
Not so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there anything inland?
There's actually some lovely places inland over here, unlike WA, where it's just desert.
Is that like the argument, if you make a nice pancake like a crepe, the best bit is that sort of buttery thing on the edge and all the inside's like not so good?
A bit like that. But no, Queensland and northern New South Wales is beautiful inland.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think, John, are you new, John Weaver?
Don't see him in the list.
He's quiet. That's okay. It's all right. It's good to listen in. That's okay. And I think everyone else, Richard, Brian, everyone else. Cool. So no one new. So that's excellent. I mean, no one more new. Now moving back to the news. Oh, John, no, we saw you last week. No, we know you, John, very well. Welcome back. By the way, I don't know if you heard that, but you broke your charger, John. So can you go and get someone to fix it, please? Just give it a kick in the side.
You're muted, John.
Yeah, John, you're muted there. Now, in other news, there was a range test done by two Southern locals, namely Alex and Nigel, who is in the room. And that was pitting a brand new Shanghai built SR Plus, or was it a long range, Nigel?
Both SR Plus.
SR
Mine's
Plus.
are built in Fremont, and Alex's was made in China.
Cool. And the results on this article is actually on our website, which has gotten national coverage, actually international coverage. Basically was that the made in China, the brand new Model 3 had slightly increased consumption than Nigel's year-old vehicle, which was sort of quite interesting. I think the other part of the test was actually the charging rate, which you can see there actually varied between the two units. But the made in China one actually finished 1 minute before the US one. So the newer one actually charged a bit quicker, even though they had different charging profiles. So you can see the Chinese one actually started a bit harder, but tapered off towards started slower at lower state of charge, but then stayed stronger towards the end.
Yeah, it had a flatter charge
Profile.
curve than mine. Mine started quite high, but then towards the end plummets quite dramatically.
Yep.
But at the end, 32 minutes and 33 minutes, that's not a huge amount of difference.
It's
No.
negligible.
So there's been a lot of conjecture as to why there is the efficiency difference, bearing in mind that these cars were basically driven on the same piece of road, close to each other, but sufficiently far so there's no drafting effect or any of that sort of thing. The conditions were mild, so there were no heaters, so there was no advantage as far as the heat pump was concerned. It was just ordinary air conditioning. The most likely effect is probably the fact that the Shanghai car had brand new tires. And I know that an old truckie's technique is to actually buy their tires and store them for about a year before they intend to use them, because the compounds harden up a bit and they get a bit better wear on the tires. So one very plausible explanation for this slight worsening of efficiency on the new car is possibly its brand new tires compared to Nigel's tires that are a year old. Or a year older.
Yeah, Alex had done no more than about 1,500 kilometres on his tyres, and I'd done just over 38,000 in 15 months. And that was about the only difference that we could see, because we set everything the same. Tyre pressures, cruise control, the temperature in the car, everything was set as identical. We had the same number of passengers with Rob, one in each car, taking some pictures and monitoring things. So that was a surprise. And as I said, I think the only thing we could put it down to was the age of the tyres.
So if you did that test 50 times, you might find it turn around the other way, because it's not a big difference, is it?
No, the efficiency was about 7% different. I think it wasn't a huge amount.
Over the whole trip, both trips, it was 5.2%.
Well,
Yeah.
the way to clinch it, the easiest way to clinch it is to go to John Edwards's factory unit, whip up the two cars on a hoist, swap the tires, and
do it again.
Test.
Yeah.
And I'll bet London to a brick that the results will reverse.
Yeah, I'll be in that. I'll have some new tyres.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You didn't
Might be able to go back to have them changed again.
Yes. You then after the test you go, oh look, really sorry, got to go. I've got to wash my hair, and and then you get yourself a nice brand new set of tires. But in all seriousness, that would clinch it. Short of you, Nigel, buying brand new tires, but I mean you haven't worn yours out yet, so that's not worth doing.
No, they're still looking pretty healthy.
And I dare say the tires that get put onto brand new cars, I would say were almost blood warm as they got put onto the car, because they probably almost came out of the tire mold, because everything's just in time. So anyway, so that'll be interesting if that test could be repeated by swapping the rubber. But I know that's a bit of a pain to do.
I think we could definitely repeat the test in June, July, when it's below 15 degrees Celsius for the whole trip. So I think the Chinese car will come out in front then. When Alex has probably got 5,000-6,000 kilometres on his tyres. The other thing is I want to take both cars over the local weighbridge to get a definitive answer.
Yeah.
The weight difference, because I read it as 130 kilogram. Toby Hagen tells me it's less than 100.
Actually, we can look that up right now, because that's a good segue to another point.
And you've got me sitting in my car as a fat bastard, and then you've got Alex, who's a skinny little fella.
Okay, well, we can do this.
There it is.
The valve might make a difference in winter as well, though.
Yeah.
When was your car done? When did you get your car, Nigel?
It's a 2019 made one.
2000.
Yeah, mine is
9 July. I wonder if it's 1st of July, or is it perhaps 18th of July?
Well, it was delivered into the country for the end of the quarter December. I didn't pick it up till January.
Okay, well, let's call it this 19th of October one. No, yeah, that's 2020. Sorry, you got it in 2019.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so obviously it's this one here. Okay, so you've got a SR Plus, which weighs 1,609 kilos. 1,609. And I can already tell you from memory, the car that you would have compared against weighed 1,750 kilos, which is this one here, 1,750.
That's significant.
Yes. Now, the reason why it was a great segue was that is the previous, this is a Shanghai version. So you see the LRW prefix on the VIN. But these details, so the 1750 and the 1844, the 1844 is for the long range, and the 1750 is for the LFP Shanghai version SR Plus, is that those two cars have now lost a bit of weight. So the SR Plus has lost 50 kilos and the long range has lost 24 kilos. And the reason why I thought that might be interesting is 50 kilos sort of smells like, I wonder if they have introduced the unified rear casting on the Model 3 without really telling anyone. In fact, no one really needs to know, because in one sense, it's not really relevant to the user.
No.
But it'll be interesting to see the new batches of cars coming from Shanghai to see if they've got a rear casting, which has caused them to lose a bit of weight. But yes,
the weight difference you wouldn't explain by the batteries. If anything, the LFPs would be heavier, wouldn't they?
Should be.
Because they're
the same range.
Less dense, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes, well, they were heavier. That's the point. Nigel's car was lighter. Nigel's car was 1609, and the current version that we've got in Australia of the LFP is 1750. So that's 141 kilos, which is probably explained by the LFPs.
It's got more battery cells in it, the LFPs, because they're less efficient, if you like.
Less dense,
and mine's got the NCA. Mine's got the NCA in, so I've got fewer modules in mine.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's right. So obviously weight will have a factor, but I really think the tyres are one variable that would be good to be removed, because, or at least reversed, because I think that'll make a big difference.
Harold, this is probably an old observation, but has anyone noticed that when you change road surfaces halfway down to Margaret River from the freeway to the forest highway, it's about Mandurah, the Mandurah Bridge, the energy consumption changes by about 10 or 15%. Anyone else notice that?
Yes, absolutely. And you can actually hear the wasted energy, which is in the form of noise. So when you hear that extra road noise, that literally is wasted energy. And that's one thing
I found.
Go, Pete.
So I found just a good rule of thumb: the lighter the surface, the lighter the bitumen, the more porous it is, and the higher the consumption. And the blacker it is, the newer it is, the smoother it is, and the lower the consumption.
Yeah, over here on the road between Brisbane and the Gold Coast, it suddenly turns into concrete. It's a concrete highway, and it's got transverse lines in every inch across where they provide a bit of grip in the concrete, and the sound goes up phenomenally. And I've noticed a slight decrease in the effectiveness of the car over that surface.
Yeah, that stretch of road's horrendous.
Yes, it is. It's horrendous. It's awful. It's constantly bumper to bumper. It's unbelievable.
It was when I was there, from getting out of Brizzy going south, and it was like, it was in the afternoon peak and just terrible.
Yeah, so my mum lives on the Gold Coast, and they go and visit her on the weekend, but we always leave here about 7 in the morning, and it's okay then. But if you leave at 8 or 9 in the morning, forget it. The 1 hour trip takes 2 hours.
Yep. So so obviously the noise, if you hear the noise, the road noise, that is just wasted energy.
Yeah.
And obviously petrol cars would have exactly the same effect. It's just that in EVs we're more acutely aware of it because we can measure it so precisely, minute to minute.
So the government needs to do something about the carbon footprint of its roads, doesn't it?
Yeah, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, you've got to get your economists out there to work it out, because those chip seal roads have much longer wear. So there's less maintenance. So that requires less energy and whatever. But you're right. If that means you're burning more fuel, it might actually make more sense to lay nice tarmac and then refresh it more often, so that the total figure is a lesser carbon effect, net carbon effect. That's an interesting thought experiment.
I don't think our current government's capable of doing that.
You think? God, no chance.
Well, one could say that most of the time they think about something but don't actually do it. But I wouldn't say that. But
I don't even think they think.
Harold, the hot mix and that surface is the third coat over the 2-coat seal, which is the noisier surface.
Yep.
It's designed exactly what you described, to reduce road noise, and therefore the adjoining residential developments either side is to reduce the noise on them. So you're always going to find that in built-up areas, and in country roads, for cost saving, you're going to find the 2-coat seal and the noisier surface more prevalent.
Cool.
Freeways, because they carry more traffic, are always going to be hot mix. They do require more maintenance and more subject to potholing. But yeah, it's a cost issue, especially for sure.
Cool, excellent.
Harold, I was going to mention air conditioning. On that test on Saturday, I noticed the Chinese-made car made quite a significant noise from the air conditioning vents. And as a few people pointed out to me the other day, it seems to be the transition from when it goes from heat to cold. So as the outside temperature warms up, and it was actually quite loud. And a few drivers of the new cars are complaining about this.
Hey, Rob, there's quite a big noise difference between having the vents set on recirculate the air inside the cabin versus new air from outside. Are you sure they were both on the same setting as far as that's concerned?
No, it was definitely a noise that I've never heard in the Model S or Model X. Basically, the noise coming from the vents as if there was stuff stuck in the vents, and quite a few Model 3 drivers are reporting this. And one person pointed out the other day, they said it happens during the transition from heating to cooling for some reason.
I did hear a car at the service centre, delivery centre, and it was only for a few seconds because we sort of like turned off the aircon, turned it back on, and then the noise went away. But there was this very loud noise and it sounded a bit disturbing, but then we couldn't repeat it. So maybe that's what you're talking about, Rob. Yeah, it was really noisy.
Yeah, definitely was.
So hopefully no one here has had that or will get that, but yeah. Hopefully there'll be enough data about it that Tesla can do something about it if it's a fault or if it's something they need to change the settings, because you know that new sort of aircon vent, that single line with the split flow, that's a very advanced and novel air conditioning system. So it might be some setting that Tesla has to play with. Like you say, Rob, when it does the transition, maybe something gets out of sync or it's just not working properly. Speaking of which, has anyone had any issues with their cars on the latest couple of software updates, particularly with LTE not coming on when you leave home for a couple of minutes? Anyone in Model 3 land had that sort of experience?
No.
No, cool. All right, that's only something for Model S's and X's then, perhaps, or a select group of them. So yeah, never mind, carry on.
Actually, Harold, while you're talking about the SIM card in the cars, I'm correct in saying that all on Telstra plans, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Now, what's interesting is when I was in Kalbarri, I had my iPad, my laptop, and my iPhone, and the screen up, and I did a test trying to load a web page up between all four. And the car was by far the fastest by a good, I mean, it's taken several minutes to load up a page, but by a good 30 seconds. So, yeah, I just wonder whether it's, whether it's got some sort of a signal booster in the car, or...
I wonder if they have a preferential slice of well, not the spectrum per se, but of the service. Because I think Tesla uses a US-based provider, who then
goes through
Telstra. Because I do recall that when that company had some issues, I don't know, a year and a half ago, a lot of cars went offline and they didn't have connectivity because this company's servers went down for a short period of time. Well, actually, it wasn't that short. I think it was for many hours. So maybe they've, a bit like Netflix on the internet, they have a better access to part of the spectrum, or at least part of the data proportion, perhaps. Okay. But then if it's really super slow in both cases, maybe it's a bit subjective and hard to tell. So don't know.
I had an issue recently, was at night driving down to Margaret River, and both the big screen on my Model S, both the big screen and the small screen in front of the steering wheel, behind the steering wheel, both went black. The lights and the car still responded and performed okay, but for about 3 minutes or so, and then it boosted itself back and came back online, lit up again.
It's a known issue that Tesla are aware of, and they're doing a software patch for it, but there's no deadline for that to be finished, or no known time.
It's only happened once, and it wasn't any danger involved, but just sort of driving without my map and those sort of things.
There is an update in release for SNX right now. I got it today, .15.
Yes, ditto, yes. Yeah, I got it, and Rochelle's got it as well.
Yeah, the interesting difference is for those of us who've upgraded from MCU 1 to MCU 2 is that now there's only one computer controlling both screens. So yeah, where previously when the MCU rebooted, the in front of the driver display would stay on because it had its own computer. Right. But with MCU 2, the single computer drives both displays. So when the computer's rebooting, you lose both of them, which is entertaining.
Yes. I had another question.
But the other interesting and cool difference is that autopilot keeps working even when it's rebooting. So, which is kind of neat.
It's weird.
I had another question in relation to software and uploading and downloading. The Tesla, when you buy the Model S now, you get a year's connectivity and Spotify, and then you go on to a monthly payment if you want to keep that. Is there a way you can link your own Spotify account to the Tesla to treat it as another device? My son had a bit of a fiddle with it when he was over from Sydney, but wasn't able to do it. But is it something in the manual, or how would
you just need to log in? Which
just need to log in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But how do you log out of the Tesla one, Paul? I've never done it.
I don't know. I just followed the on-screen prompts and logged in as myself in the Model 3.
Right.
I'm with Paul.
Yeah. The thing is, if you do it when you first get your car, that's fine, because it's one of the first things you see when you press Spotify. It says, "Do you have your own account? Enter your details here."
Yeah.
No, we didn't get that.
There's a little blue button that says, "Or use the Tesla account." I guess the interesting question is, if you've already used the Tesla account, how do you tell Spotify to presumably log out of the Tesla account?
I don't know how, but I know you can definitely do it, because I know I've done it, but I can't tell you.
I can't remember. Yeah, it was a year and a half ago.
You have to go out to the car and have a look, but you can definitely log in with your own account. But in relation to your question, does that get around the fact that you don't get premium connectivity? It also won't work. So if you don't have premium connectivity, Spotify won't work even with your own account, because it's about the data usage and
it's about the connection. Yeah.
So you can link your MCU to a Wi-Fi hotspot, like for example on your phone, and do it there. But it's a bit of a pain in the ass to do that. And
you can just put Spotify on your phone on your account. And do that straight through.
Stream it, yeah.
Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Yep. Which I do with Apple Music on mine. You just stream it via Bluetooth.
That's what I thought I would do if at the end of 12 months.
Yeah. So if you don't have included premium connectivity, you basically lose most of the data streaming features. So you still have maps and you still have a bunch of other things, but you don't have, for example, live traffic updates, and you don't have streaming radio and Spotify, and obviously the entertainment things like Netflix and YouTube. Everything else basically works as normal, but switching to your own Spotify account doesn't fix that, because of course it's the actual streaming data that you lose as part of that lack of having premium connectivity.
And one good thing for us in Australia is we actually got, due to a tweet that Elon answered, we have a discounted price for the premium connectivity, and that price is $10 a month Australian, whereas in the States they actually pay $10 US. So we actually comparatively are getting a much better deal on the premium connectivity.
Yeah.
So, I guess you've got to decide whether $10 a month is worth the extra features you do get. And I guess one of them, if you're in the city, is much better navigation routing, because it basically does the traffic aware or traffic, Google-based navigation.
Traffic density.
Yeah. So you know, it's only $10 a month.
Yeah, God.
In other news, if you believe supercharge.info, Williams went in to permit 6 days ago. Apparently it's been applied for as a 4-stall supercharger.
Ooh.
So don't go getting too excited, Harold, because by point of reference, the Yay supercharger that just got completed today,
wasn't it?
in Victoria, is also a 4-stall, and it's a Type 2, as in a version 2.
Look, you're right. If you'd said 8 stalls, I probably would have jumped up and left the building. But
however, there are some solid rumours circulating that future superchargers in Australia will be V3, but they're only solid rumours at this point. I doubt Williams would be one of them, though.
No. And to be fair, it doesn't need it, does it? Because if they put one in Cogen up, you'd only do 2 quick squirts and that's job done. Well, you only do a squirt on the furthest one. You do one at Cogen up from Perth, and you do one at Williams from Albany.
Yeah, so Yay was completed. This is the Yay supercharger in Victoria.
Yeah, so that's clearly V2. Yeah, because it's got the double DDX.
Because if it were a V3, it wouldn't have the
precisely. Yeah.
So not superchargers.
So they're 150 kilowatt superchargers, and Williams is likely to be the same build as that.
Yeah.
I'm not fussy. That works for me.
Say again, Pete.
Are those the prefabricated ones?
No. They're all in a line. The prefab on the sled is the easiest example of that is Horsham, which is just over here. It's that one.
It's on a pallet.
It's basically on a forklift pallet, all pre-done. So that's the actual DC unit, and then you got to.
It looks very portable.
It's extremely portable.
Yeah.
That's the one at the back of the Kmart loading dock. You can't really Target. Sorry. So it's extremely portable.
I read somewhere. I'm not sure if anyone else saw it, that Tesla is looking at doing that or using this method for all their future superchargers.
Yes, they did that in one of the in the United States. I think they're actually version 3 superchargers, which means they've got the 250 kilowatts each stall, because I had the DC unit's basically like a big. It's like a perfect rectangle, whatever you call that. It's a 2 high by 1 across cube, whatever. Whereas the one you see the ones at Eaton, they're really like electrical cabinets. Whereas the version 3 ones are basically twice as deep. Actually even bigger than that. So you're right, Pete. They've done that so that you can effectively just chain them off the back of a truck or a HIAB. And a bit like a sea container, you can virtually just use a sea container truck with the hydraulics and just drop it off the side and then just hook into it. And it's much quicker install than having to pour concrete slabs and all that sort of stuff and trenching.
So I think someone was saying that that's the method that they'll use for that new Harris Range supercharger that was announced, which will apparently be the biggest V3 or V2 anywhere in the world, I think, at 98 or 100 stalls.
Yeah, and that's just amazing, because if it's 98, that's nearly 25,000 kilowatts. So that's 25 megawatts.
Jesus.
That's a bit of power.
Holy crap, you just need a power station behind that.
they'll have mega packs and solar canopy as well over all the stalls.
Wow.
Yeah. But I dare say the solar canopies are a rounding error. They're just a rounding error.
Yeah, exactly.
They probably run the cooling fans for the.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, that's what's impressive when you charge a lot of cars in one area, they can suck up a lot of juice. But
the mega packs will help with the connection.
Yeah, the instantaneous drag. Yeah.
Yeah, Harris Ranch is important also because it's a pretty major truck stop. So there's read into that what you can, given all the other appointments for Tesla semis recently. So there's I'm certain other motivation for choosing that location.
It's pretty much in between LA and San Francisco, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the two biggest markets for Tesla, really.
It's famously the place where they demoed the battery swap.
That's true. Yeah.
So which I think they did 5 times or something, and then they went, that doesn't work. Let's stop.
Decided that's not worth the trouble.
Pretty much. So yeah, it's a site that Tesla's had some info on for quite a long time. It's also got a hydrogen refueling site there, which nobody. Let's not even go there.
The hydrogen.
But yeah, so Williams is exciting. If it is in permit, then fingers crossed. That means hopefully this quarter we might see something happen there. So that'd be nice to have a full stall on Albany Highway.
Wow, great.
Has there been any news on the Ravensthorpe one? Because I thought that was meant to go in just after Christmas. And
Chris was talking about that at AEVA last night. Do you remember, Harold, what the story was?
I think they're still doing the final design, DQA design something.
It's the electrical sign off, yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's still in progress.
So they got over the hurdles with the council finally?
I think so. Now, the biggest hurdle is how much Western Power is going to charge, because they have to dig under the road because the actual power supply is across the road. Or actually what it probably is the overhead. Ravensthorpe has above ground power, but they won't do an overhead feed line. They always do anything that traverses a road has to go underground. So they've got a tunnel under the road. And the biggest concern is how much Western Power are going to charge for that fee, as well as the, what's it called? The provision fee for the extra power. Because they have to notionally, if you can get a standard connection, but it can only be 32 amps, 3-phase. That's a standard domestic connection. And anything above that, they charge you roughly $1,000 per kilowatt. So, and that's the idea of that is that on average, somewhere in the network, they'll have to put that much worth of extra transformer capacity, generation capacity, and other infrastructure. So it's a capacity charge. So if you have, and even if the capacity is for a short period, obviously they have to supply that power there and then when you want to use it. So one concern is that Western Power don't end up charging, upwards of $30,000 just for capacity usage or an infrastructure charge. So that's one concern, because there is
get to the point where it's more cost effective to put a battery bank in there, like a mega pack or something like that.
Yeah, the problem is a mega pack's mega bucks. Even a power pack. I think a 200 kilowatt hour power pack is well in excess of 100K.
Oh, it's even well double that. Yeah.
So it's huge bucks, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And it goes without saying that the state government ought to proclaim that any new fast DC charger installation ought to be exempt from that capacity usage charge, and they should follow that charge. Because on average, you won't have to build out more infrastructure in the vast majority of places. It'll just soak up a bit of extra solar capacity or whatever.
Yeah, Harold, wouldn't that be in line with their election promise of $180 million towards infrastructure?
Sorry, 180 million. Oh,
yeah, that was their election promise.
Yeah, but that's
they weren't going to give any incentives for cars. They're just going to provide better charging around the state.
Yeah, well, their promise was for $21 million. No, 20 or $21 million.
21 million. Yeah.
EV.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought it was more.
No. If it was 180 million, well, we'd have silver service everywhere. But no, it's only 21 million. But the problem is you can easily gobble that up with capacity usage charges. And an issue of that is it's the government charging itself. So the government ought to say, no, let's just exempt any new fast DC charger installation from these charges. Because in one sense, they're kind of, they have meaning, but, on the small number of fast DC chargers you're going to have, it's meaningless. It's not going to affect the network.
So perhaps when I get back to Rockingham, I need to have a meeting with my local member.
And that's the great thing, is that you are entitled as a constituent to meet your local member. Although I dare say his number of appointments would be rather few and far between. But yeah, absolutely. You should contact the Honourable Mr. McGowan's office to make a booking.
It's always a good idea to go and talk to your local member about stuff like that, because, there was some discussion at AEVA last night about the state rollout as well, wasn't there, Harold? The implication was that they were hoping to actually start building in 2022.
Yes, so the bad news, if you call it that, is nothing is going to happen this year, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The implication was once all the business cases were approved, or formulated and approved, that the construction would occur next year. But one bit of glimmer of hope is that all of the construction will occur next year.
Yeah,
because
that was the statement they made, that they would build the entire build in 2022.
Which would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So if there's any pork barreling in the state government, I can expect to see something in Rockingham then, can I?
No, actually, because Rockingham's too close to Perth. So actually, it makes zero sense pretty much to have anything at Rockingham whatsoever.
But it's closer to me, so I want it.
Yeah, and don't come over to Baldivis and park at the Stockland shopping centre, thank you. There was some miserable white Model S today parked there. Its registration was 2THDK.
Oh, yeah.
Who was that?
I know who that is.
Hang on 2 seconds. Okay, so when you're charging, I guess one of the issues is that you were saying, Nigel, about PlugShare?
Yeah, some people still don't log in on PlugShare. So as I said last week, that need to charge thing. So I put one of those on his windscreen.
Cool. So the thing about PlugShare, and look, I sporadically check in on PlugShare. It is a social media platform. It's very informative, but it's useful that everyone understands or realizes that no one is obligated to use it, and no one is obligated not to use it. I often use it if I'm on holidays. It's almost like like a dog marking where they've been, or leaving crumbs. So you can say, I've been here.
Let's go with crumbs.
Yes, let's go with crumbs. But what can be very useful, and what I do religiously, is if, for instance, that location is now broken or not working, and the previous post said it was working, I'll absolutely say new information, it's not working, or one side's not working, or something like that. Or if it was found to not be working in the past and I try it out anyway and it does work, any new information, I'll always put a post in. But this notion of it'll be useful so that you could look up PlugShare to see if someone's checked in. Unfortunately, one of the things on PlugShare, in many locations, such as say UWA, where there's a half-hour limit, a time limit to charge, is that PlugShare's default limit is an hour. So you can't really rely on the fact that someone says they've plugged in and they've got X minutes to go, because you don't really know if they're there or not.
No.
And again, it's social media. It's a useful tool for what it's good at, which is having photos, information, the experience of previous users. So we just saw in CodeGen is, Nigel told us that it was not working, and we can see that on PlugShare. But don't feel that you have to be obligated to check in all the time, if at all. But if you want to check in every time, that's totally cool too, because it's just like any other social media. Use it as much or as little as you like.
If you do go to CodeGen, guys, I suggest you do PlugShare though at CodeGen and put a good comment there, because the Shire CodeGen are tracking PlugShare, because when the launch of the charger was there, they all were made aware of PlugShare. So they're tracking you, they're tracking your comments.
To keep them clean.
I wonder if I'm one of the ones not plugging in. What should we do there, Harold, when we log in? I look it up to see if there's someone there, because it halves the charge if there's someone else there. And if someone is there, I generally leave them so they don't suffer from my charging. Should I be doing something that I'm not doing at the moment?
Well, like say at EWA, you're only supposed to be there for half an hour, whereas when you check in and PlugShare, the default time is an hour. So if someone looks at the EWA pin, it'll say leaving in 45 minutes, which is
my default time's 15 minutes on PlugShare.
Yeah, my default's 15.
Yeah, I think I don't know whether it's iPhone thing or I'm not even sure if it's actually changeable, to be honest. I've struggled to.
It is
in the settings.
It is. As I'm driving across the country doing anything that trickle charge, the most I can go to is 8 hours.
Yeah, you can change the time that you're going to be there as you log in, but yes. I don't know about the default setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, default setting 15 minutes. I have to change that.
Yeah.
So you just logging in before you get there, advising someone.
All right, see you, George. Gilbert, sorry.
Bye-bye.
So, Steve, so you're on the road now, aren't you?
Yeah, that's why you've seen the back of my motorhome.
Right. So where are you now?
Ceduna.
Awesome. Please tell us what happened at Norseman.
Okay, so Norseman, I contacted the Dundas Shire of Dundas, and said I was going to be there on Sunday. I prepaid the $35. Went to the Oval with my 3-phase 32 amp, but it's the tail that goes into my UMC. Connected up, and the power was so variable that the Model 3 inverter would go track a bit, and then when it hit 244 volts or so, it would trickle back to no current, and then it would trickle up, and so I was getting 1 or 2 kilometers per hour added, which was useless. So I went across to the Caravan outlet, there was a 15 amp outlet. I jumped onto that, spent several hours there until I had enough to get me at 6% to, I think it was Kuru Retreat. Yeah, where I was going to after that, to get me in with 6%.
Oh, Belladonna. That was Belladonna.
Belladonna. And after talking with you, I then also knocked the speed right back. Rather than waiting for the car to tell me to slow down, I just started at driving at 95.
Yep. And you got there with,
got to there.
8%?
Yeah, I got there with 8%.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Got there okay, which was fine. Belladonna charged $1 per kilowatt hour.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Thereafter, where did we go?
Cockleby.
Majura. Majura Pass.
Oh, yes.
Yep, I stayed connected to their garage all night. They just put the garage door down. It didn't crink or cut off the cable and just parked there in the rain. So just as well that my tail, etc., was in the dry of the garage. Got the car the following morning, no charge, drove out. Interesting this morning in Nullarbor, again, no charge there. As I was disconnecting, this chap came over. He looked vaguely familiar, and he started talking. He said, "Oh, by the way, I'm Dick Smith." And I said, "Yes, we thought you were."
Wow.
And then he talked about he had a set, as I said, it's a Model 3 long range. He has got a Model S, which he's had for a few years, and also is talking about his Nissan Leaf he's had for 8 years. But he liked sitting in the new Model 3. He liked the presentation, the minimalist type aspect of it. We chatted for a few minutes, and then he went to get coffee.
Wow, excellent.
Nice.
Excellent.
That's great.
So he wasn't in a model. He wasn't in his Model S, obviously.
No. You said his effective range now is 280. I didn't ask him what size battery he's got, but he said his effective range is 280, and he was asking how I got there. Basically, I said, "Oh well, if you're patient, don't have high expectations for some of the charging as you would come across, you can get there."
I think I've paid for a good proportion of that Model S in a lifetime of hobby electronics, buying cheap stuff at Dick Smith. So,
yes,
Steve,
absolutely.
I've got a question for you, Steve.
Yeah.
When you drove between Mundrabilla and Border Village, did you notice a lot of broken down cars on the side of the road?
No, I didn't. Is there something I should have been looking for?
Yeah,
I did see a couple of cars that had rolled. I think they had left them there as an example.
The delivery truck put unleaded fuel into the diesel holding tanks.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah, so because a lot of cars broke down, a lot of damage to their cars. So, but you know, you can never put the wrong electricity in your Tesla.
That's true.
No, unless it doesn't come out at all.
I just wonder if that was an earthing problem. I had that sort of hunting voltage sort of thing when I was running. No, in fact, I'm not quite sure if the earthing, the bonded neutral thing came in, but I don't think it charges at all when you do that. But I had an inverter, a 2 kilowatt inverter, but I wasn't putting quite enough power into it. I hunted those sort of and partially charged for a while, then cut off and partially charged. So maybe getting low voltage there or something like that.
Yep. So I had another problem with the quality of the power at Nullarbor, but it didn't go outside of an acceptable range. So yes, it would be sometimes 32 amps, knock it down to 20, and then it would build up again. So the fact that it was connected all night charging was a good thing. I left this morning with a full charge and got to Ceduna with no problems.
In Ceduna, that you're at the hotel?
I'm at a caravan park in Ceduna. We're staying for 2 nights. I've got the motorhome, as I said. So we're here for 2 nights. I'm just doing a caravan battery feed. There was a spare outlet, so trickle charge the car, drive around a bit tomorrow. Oh, cool. Only 90%, Harold, only 90%. Then I'll...
you can absolutely go higher. So
I do on the traveling days.
Yeah. Hopefully that pro tip was a bit useful. It's a great thing. So you can charge to 90 overnight, and then particularly on 3-phase, you can then just jack it up to 100, wait for the next hour while you're getting ready. And by that time, you'll be at 98% or so anyway. And then you can just use it as you go.
Yeah, well, in a couple of days, we're heading off to Port Augusta, and I've arranged with the Standpipe Motel to use their Tesla charger, even though I'm going to be at a caravan park nearby. They're going to charge $20, they've said, but that's fine. I'll fill up and continue on to the Barossa.
Obviously have a photo up at the, I forget what it's called, but it's where they grow all the tomatoes in Australia. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them, on that solar-powered desalinator, just around the corner from Port Augusta.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out for that.
You can't miss it. You literally, because it's this huge tower which has a thermal desalinator from reflectors on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's just out of Augusta.
Just out of Augusta. Yep.
Just south of that, on the way to Adelaide.
Yes.
It's a massive tower. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I forget what it's called, but it basically desalinates the water, the seawater, and they produce a stupendous amount of hydroponic tomatoes.
Good. Well, we had to surrender our tomato coming across the fruit fly point, so perhaps it's a subtle marketing activity that they have. Get rid of the competition. You can't bring it in for West Australia.
Well, you can, as long as it's in your stomach.
If you're in the motorhome, where's your Tesla? Or are you driving the Tesla as well as the motorhome?
Yeah, the Tesla's right beside me.
Okay.
So it's in caravan park. So you have a caravan and a car normally. So the motorhome and the Tesla's parked beside, and there's a spare outlet from a 4-outlet thing beside me. So thanks.
Have you thought of doing like they do with the Suzukis, and you put like a trailer hitch on the front of the Tesla? Just
we thought about that, but there was a thing in the glove box which said when you need to tow, you've got to lift it up off the ground. You cannot actually have any wheels in contact.
Well, that's the official line.
Yeah, that's the official line. Put it into neutral and see what happens.
$92,000.
$92,000, I was just told.
Yes, you'd want to make sure you put chains on the hitch, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's great that you made it across. I did fear that perhaps that tail wasn't going to work at all for the rest of the trip. And
well, the only way we could confirm that was at Baladonia, where it worked without floor, touch wood this time.
That's
and
awesome.
It worked the following time at Mandurah Majura Pass.
Yep.
And it was just a bit sort of up and down yesterday at Nullarbor.
It's funny, as soon as you get to are you going to I presume you're going to the Clare supercharger?
Not decided. It'll depend on exactly where we're going to go. And we're going to spend a couple of days parked up, not a day without driving across the country. Thanks, they're always good. We'll decide exactly where we're going to be. We don't have a time limit, thank goodness, so we're just see. But yeah, it might be worth going to the superchargers just for the activity, just to see what it's like.
Yes, and it's funny, I felt it keenly. I'm sure you did too, Rob. When you sort of like charge up at the Clare supercharger, going west, it's the last place where you have this awesome charging experience. And then you know it's the hard slog of AC. And you sort of have a bit of a sad, it's a bit of a sad thought when you see that sort of disappearing in the rearview mirror as you go down the hill, because it's
I'll probably shed a tear.
Yeah, I almost did. Yes, I sort of thought, oh no. But anyway, it's still good fun. And as you know, when you do it slowly, it's not at all stressful because you don't have to be anywhere in a hurry. So, you know.
Yep. Yeah, we modified our itinerary just to cut out, reduce travelling on one day. And we said, no, we'll only go as far as the Majura Pass instead of continuing on to Border Village as we'd planned. Probably just as well.
What are the bookings like, incidentally? What's the availability of accommodation? Did you find it easy to come by? Oh, well, you were staying in your motorhome, sorry. So, of course, you're fine.
But even then, where we've been, the cabins haven't been booked out. We're going across the country. And we've been able to get caravan spots without pre-booking, although we did pre-book for Ceduna the day before. So, yeah, so far it's not been an issue.
We don't even need to book in anywhere. We're self-sufficient.
And worst case, would free camp.
Yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's go on.
I was going to say, on that point, we're hoping to head off in about 3 weeks, or maybe a bit less than that. And I'm after a spare wheel, but what I'd like is one that's not as wide, so I can fit it underneath the floor in the back of the X. And I don't know if they tell me you're the expert there.
Yeah, we've got the club's got a full spare to lend. It's the front wheel.
Yes, it's the front 250.
So it's compatible with both ways. Now, all you got to do, Pete, is you know how you've got the back lift up panel? You just lift that vertically, so it's vertical. You put the spare vertically up against that panel on the left-hand side where there's a flick out tie down point. And then you just get one of those straps and just strap it around the tire, and you just sit it in that position.
Well, I did that when I borrowed it before, but I was hoping to get one that I could sit flat. You know, maybe not as wide a tire, but so I could sit it under the floor. But I don't know if there's an option for that.
Yeah, well, you'd have to get a rim that's compatible. Oh, look, if you thought you were going to use that car for a very long time, you could get a modern spare one, which I presume is a skinny spare with the jack and all that sort of stuff built in. But they're not cheap. They're about $850. So I dare say for the inconvenience, like I mean, when I put mine in, I use that space well because I put the jack in there and charge additional charge cables in the rim. So I put the nice looking part towards the front of the car, so that the void was facing backwards, so you could fill it full of stuff. So that's what I do. It just depends. And I had one of the. Have you got 7 seats or 6?
No, just the 5 seats.
Sorry,
just the 5-seater.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, in that case, you've got plenty of extra capacity in the back.
Yeah, I have, but if we get caught and got to sleep in the back, it's a pain to pull it out to fit in there.
Yeah, true.
That's why I was hoping to get it like halfway between a standard size front rim and a space saver, so that I could lay it flat underneath the front part of the floor in the back. Because if I put a standard spare in the back flat, the floor won't sit down. It's up about 3 inches from where it should be.
Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. I thought you might have known of a rim that I can put. The rolling diameter is the big thing as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And also, I dare say the weight carrying capacity of the tyre that can fit on that rim.
Yes. But it's not that simple. Okay. No. I thought you might have known a simple solution. Someone said you've got a narrow one, but maybe that's not so.
Well, I guess the simplest is just take the fat one and just put up with that inconvenience having to reef it out if you have to camp in your car.
Yeah, well, it's not a big deal, but it's just one less thing to cope with.
Or just go rogue and just have a puncture repair kit.
I've got that, but it's not good enough in case you do a tyre.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
The tie downs, I've got 2 tie downs at the back near the tailgate, but there's nothing forward to tie them to unless you use the child restraints on the back of the seat.
And that's what I think I must have done. I think I had that seat up as well as the back part, because hang on, you haven't got a 7-seater.
No, I've got a 5-seater.
I've got a 7-seater. So I had the third rows, one of them up, and there's a restraint there.
Okay.
So I had 2-way restraint, but even just on the side is enough. It doesn't rattle around much. So just give it a go. Or come over to my place and you can check out the 2. We can try it on the 2 different cars to see what's the optimum. Because I can show you what I did and see if it will work on your car.
Yeah, maybe I'll give you a ring when it's convenient for you and pop
around. Whenever.
Thanks.
Yeah. Easy peasy. Are you going long way? Are you going around Australia, or are you just doing a short trip?
We're not sure if we go up to Brisbane, Bundaberg.
Oh,
Victoria to start with. The rest is a bit fly by the seat of your pants.
Well, we'll put it this way: if you're at Bundaberg, you are diagonally opposite, so you might as well go all the way around because the return trip's the same distance.
Oh, we know that. We've done it several times. Last year, we actually went across the top down to Brisbane and then back the same way because of the restrictions. We couldn't go into South Australia or Victoria or even New South Wales. So we had to go back the same way. But that wasn't in the car. That was in our motorhome.
Yeah. Cool. No, that'd be exciting.
Looking forward to it.
And obviously, you can borrow any charging adapters that you need. It's always good to have a bit of redundancy.
My word. Yes. Okay, I might give you a ring then.
Yeah. No worries. Anytime. Now, Richard, you're up. Yes, you are up. That's good timing because Richard's been a bit busy with a couple of pro tip videos, which he's done for us. And I'll just put them on. This one is explaining where the 12-volt socket is in the center console. They're pretty short. There's another one. This one he's showing off because most Model 3s can't do this. That's the modern spare. It's in a bag.
Has that got a tyre on it or just the rim?
The whole lot, tyre and rim.
Hey, Richard, quick question.
Yeah.
With your auto front lift,
yep.
When it goes up, is it rendered on your screen as being up?
Yep, it is.
So is it the front one? What about the re one?
Yeah,
the back one.
Yeah, that's,
really.
Yeah.
And you've got the Hancho kit?
Yes, on both front and back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, especially the front is great. I use my front all the time for shopping, and I just say, "Hey Siri, open the front," and the thing opens before I get to the car. Oh, I've just done it. My car will now open the front. Anyway, yeah, it works really well. And
yeah, no, it's I had mine fitted a couple of days ago, and yeah, it's so convenient. But yeah, mine. So with the front one lifts up and it renders it as being up, but the back one, it will show it as going up and then it goes down. So it shows it as closed, even though it's still sitting up.
Oh, if you just saw my video, you saw the back one was up.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, yeah, no, it works. It works up and down. Yeah.
That's it. Did you wire yours yourself?
Yeah, I did. But I had problems with my first one. I'd had it about 12 months and it just was, it was just going really bad and wouldn't lift up. And anyway, so they sent me a whole nother kit. I paid about a third of the cost and got a whole new one. And it's obvious, and that goes into the CAN bus. The other one didn't.
Right. Okay.
It's a bit harder to wire.
I just noticed some messages. Tom, you've got a question about the tyre repair kit.
Yes, I guess it's so many years since I've changed a tyre that I've got used to tyres not shredding themselves, as providing you keep the air up and everything. And so I bought one of the tyre repair kits, and I hadn't planned to carry a spare, for example, down to Margaret River, and I just wanted to see whether that was incredibly stupid, or there's something I don't know, or whatever.
No, not at all. I can admit that I've gone to Kalbarri with no spare and back successfully. I've taken a spare tyre right around Australia doing 15,500 kilometres and didn't use it once, thankfully.
Yeah.
When you say tyre repair, yeah, that's right. When you say tyre repair kit, do you mean the goo that inflates into the car, or do you?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Right. Okay. Something else you can do is go to Super Cheap Auto or Auto Pro or whatever, Auto One or whatever, and they have those things where you actually ream out the tech screw, and then you put in this unvulcanized rubber slug, which then sort of amalgamates into the rubber of the tire, and that's quite an effective. If you've got like a larger screw that the goo doesn't work as effectively on. So that's that's like another extra bit of kit you can take, which is very unobtrusive. It's very light and cheap. I think they're $20, $30, $40.
Yeah.
But just with those kits from Supercheap, they've got two types, and I'd recommend getting the more expensive one. I think it's actually labelled as a 4-wheel drive one. It's just because the handle is a bigger, thicker handle, and you need quite a bit of force to get that rubber in. And with the thinner ones, yeah, you just it's going to hurt or damage your hand trying to get it in.
Yep.
Do these things still work with the sound deadening foam in our silly tyre?
Apparently they do. Apparently
the slug, Richard, or the goo?
Both.
The goo.
The goo works because Tesla's, you can actually buy from Tesla. So
that's where I got it from.
Yeah, on their website, they've actually got.
I've asked the guys in service, and they said it sucks it through the foam.
Yeah, oh yeah, because the air will push it anywhere it wants to go. Literally, it'll just follow the air leaving the tire. So if you go to shop and you've got accessories, and there's the tire repair kit, $125, which includes the sealant. So that's an air compressor. And so there's the air compressor on this side, and there's a bottle of sealant on the other side. And then you've also got, there's the sealant is separable, totally separate unit, 12 volt, and you've also got a bike attachment as well. I mean, sorry, air mattress. And that's $125. So you absolutely do know that, well, you can be assured that it works in the foam-filled tires because Tesla are selling it to you in that format.
I guess the second question that follows on from that is, if you do get a flat tire, has anyone out in the wilds of Australia got Tesla tires or tires that fit these cars?
I don't think they're particularly non-standard tires, ignoring the acoustic part. You know.
Right.
Yeah. And I've had my Michelins replaced with Continental. So Continental do a tire with the foam, with the sound dampening foam, with and without. And the one without was about $50 a tire cheaper. And I thought I'll give it a try and see if I can notice the difference. And I'm sure there, if you got a, what do they call the measuring device for sound?
Decibel, mate.
Decibel, yeah.
Yeah, decimeter out. I'm sure you'd be able to tell the difference. But look, if you really concentrate, I'm not sure if I was just imagining, if it was just in my head, but I thought I could tell a slight difference. But yeah, I mean, most people listen to the radio or something like that. So yeah, you won't pick up the difference.
And the difference you'll feel is the $200 in your back pocket. So Tom, look, you're more than welcome to borrow the spare if it's available, which it usually is, for a bit of confidence. But and I've hardly ever had any flat tires at all, touch wood. But a few months ago, or late last year, I got like a catastrophic flat where the tire went from fully inflated to dead flat in about 1,500 meters.
Yeah.
So there's just nothing you can do because I basically ran over a bolt on the freeway.
Yeah.
And I by the time I got to my place, and I knew the tire was flat and it was gone, but I limped it to my place and it was completely gone.
Yeah.
But that was once in I don't know how many, like 1 million Ks.
Whereas I've done less than 40,000 Ks in my Model 3, and I've had 2 punctures now, and one of those couldn't be repairable either. So luck of the draw.
But was it one that you could still drive for a while, like a tech screw in the side?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So a slow leak, you can just limp.
I can beat that. For the newbies here.
Do tell us, Richard.
My Performance Model 3, first drive, had the kids in the car, went round the roundabout, and drove a bit differently to my Lotus, and I just clipped the curb, and suddenly my centre screen said stop the car immediately. I ruptured a tyre, so 5 k's after it being delivered on a flatbed, it was back on a flatbed, being taken home or taken to the So my wife said, I'm never going out in this car if you've got those tyres on it. So I got some 18-inch wheels on it, and I'll sell the car with the 20-inch wheels one day.
Yeah.
So it ruptured the tyre, so it was instant deflation. I wouldn't even known. I mean, I wouldn't have known it had deflated unless the car had told me. So it was amazing. So it deflated in about a second. And that was at City Beach, and I live in West Leederville.
Would it be right to assume, because the cars are heavier and we run the tyres at higher pressures, so what is it, 42 or 43 or whatever's recommended, PSI, would that make them more susceptible to punctures?
I wouldn't have thought so. We've just traded an Audi, and the Audi we ran at about 40 pounds all the time, and we didn't have punctures. I mean, we occasionally got slow leaks, but only once or twice over 125,000 clicks.
Well, I think tyre pressures have generally been going up because
for economy.
Yes. I know when I was a kid, or when I was a youth, it was sort of like 32s.
Yeah, 32 was the standard.
And, now it's at least 42. And personally, I run my tyres hard because you get better efficiency.
I do.
So I run them up to their maximum cold inflate. But that's not personal advice, professional advice. That's just what I do.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah, and at the back blocks of Northern Territory, 47 degrees in the shade, I think my tyre pressure got to 57 PSI, but that was the top, that was it. But its cold inflate is rated at 50, so it's perfectly okay. Now, there's a couple of things I'm sort of flip-flopping around a bit. On Tesla's, speaking of Tesla's shopping website, we've got the Tesla Killer decanter. But the bit of news is it's now out of stock. So
it was out of stock the day they opened it up, wasn't it?
Oh, no, I don't think so. No, it was in stock for about at least a week or so. But now it's out of stock. Although you can get an email message when it's back in stock, which is a new development for Tesla. Now, the other thing I saw, because this is something very dear to my heart, is this website. Which is Cyberlander.
Yes.
Oh, yes. That was
I ordered one.
Oh, have you?
Yes.
Oh, yes. So
this is fantastic, this thing.
This
I
is.
ordered it.
It's like a skyscraper for your Cybertruck.
It's madness.
You do know it's going to cost about 50,000 Australian.
Yes. Look at it. Just look at it.
And you can't take your car anywhere when you've got it set up. It's like a motorhome, unless you got another car with you.
You don't need another car. This fallacy of towing a car is very false.
It's got induction cooktop.
Yep.
Peter, I mean, if you want to go off sightseeing and going on a little bit around the area, you can't do it on a push bike or a scooter.
You
just push the button, it collapses down, and you drive off and have a look.
Yeah.
But you got to pack up everything and
No, it's all motorized. It's all you can. I think you can use your smartphone to control
It's
it.
got a recirculating shower, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
On the Cybertruck.
And a dry toilet, which I'll explain in a minute. Once it's finished, that's even cooler.
Yeah, they're amazing, those things.
This is it here. It comes up out of the back of the truck. The top's all solar panels.
That is just like, oh.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. Heated floor.
I had to look up on their website. They actually have an FAQ section, and they explain what the dry toilet is. And it's basically like a long sausage of plastic bag. And what it does is after each dose, it twists the plastic bag. So you eventually get like a sausage of each bit of waste, which then turns into one big bag, which you then just dispose of. And then put another long bag in it. But yeah, Cyberlander, they actually on their website, they actually do, or they do have pricing. And yeah, it's actually 50 US.
50 US, so it's about 75,000, something like that. We'll pay.
Yes. And look, we don't even know if we can get it.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
You'd probably get it before you get the Cybertruck.
No, it's supposed to come with the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Apparently.
They were saying it's going to be available at the day you'll be able to get your Cybertruck.
Yeah.
What, right-hand drive? I don't know.
No, in the US. Yeah.
In the US.
So it's, it's got the specs there. You got, 1,200 pounds dry weight, sleeping capacity, two adults and two little kids because they sleep underneath. They say they got Starlink satellite. Well, of course, anyone can get
comes
that.
with it, Starlink. Yeah.
There's no drag because it's all inside the vault of the Cybertruck, so that's cool. They reckon 5% range increase, but I mean the Cybertruck, the big one, has got 800 k's range, so that'll make very little difference. And you've got water filtration. So what it basically does is it filtrates the water, so it recycles it when you're having a shower. So as long as you don't use too much soap, it'll be okay. They do say the pricing, the pricing is 40,000, which is a discount if you put 5k down. And there's only 20 reservations available for that. But yeah, it's the best part of 50k.
US.
This is all US because they just presume it's all the States because there is no other place apart from the States for these guys. But
that'll be
Cyber
Tesla shares by the time it comes out.
Well, Tesla shares are doing all right at the moment. I think they might have opened by now. They should have opened by now.
In about 10 minutes. Oh, no, actually.
Oh, no. No, sorry. Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, Pete. Yeah, I apologise. About 7 minutes. Sorry, yes. But the pre-market is looking at, it's come back a bit, 773 on the pre-open.
So how do you reckon we're going to go with the Australian design rules and the Cybertruck with its exoskeleton and all of that, and crumple zones and side mirrors and that? Man, how are we going to go in another few years when they finally decide to start delivering them here?
I don't think in the States, I think side mirrors are still mandatory in the US.
At the moment, I believe so, yeah.
So...
But it's got the digital review mirror, the internal mirror is a digital one because it has to be when the canopy is down.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, of course, because when the vault is closed, you can't see out the back.
No.
But things like the size won't matter because it's the size of an F-150.
Yeah, so size of crumple zones are a concern.
Well, it would have a bigger crumble zone than the F-150 because the whole front is a massive crumble zone. It's just the question is whether the steel will crumble.
That's the point. I mean, cold work, folded, stainless steel. Yeah. I guess they just got to engineer it in, haven't they? I mean, that's the point.
Yeah.
I think you call it a crumple causing zone at the front. It'll crumple other cars.
Possibly.
Thing is, Paul, one concern that might be is the pedestrian friendliness of it. But I mean, what about an F-150? Is that a pedestrian-friendly vehicle?
With a big roo bar?
Well, even without the roo bar, even with just the big bumper bar and grill and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I think it gives me hope is that, Europe, it might be a different case because of its size. But then I think it's funny because you know how Elon Musk, fairly soon after the reveal, said, we'll probably shrink it down by about 3%. And that was to do with Europe and other stuff. And then he sort of like went back on that and said, oh, no, actually, it's impossible to make a world car. We're just going to make an American one. And then he went back later on, we'll make a Wolverine version of the Cybertruck or something like that. He described it. That was smaller.
Yeah.
But very recently, he's confirmed again that it is 3% smaller.
3% smaller, yeah.
So they've decided to go back to the 3%. And I think some of that is because a lot of people that don't have trucks in America want it 3% smaller so it'll fit into their standard garage. Yeah. So I think it'll be perfectly okay in Australia. The only thing I worry about is we're a right-hand drive market.
Yeah.
And there'll probably be other right-hand drive markets that won't be as interested or can't use the Cybertruck. Like, I don't think the Cybertruck would work well in the UK.
No, I agree.
So I just hope that Tesla don't put us on the never. A little bit like they have on the S and the X refresh, which is now deep into 2022.
Yeah.
Right.
So we will get it, but
in the fullness of time.
Yes.
Any predictions on Model Y? Because they've been making that since January in Shanghai. Do you think we'll get it before, this half of the year still, in the next 3 months?
The thing that worries me is they keep saying how China is going gangbusters. And I think in March they delivered 10,000 Model Ys into China and 30-something thousand Model 3s.
Yeah.
And I dare say the 10,000 Ys is probably their full capacity at this stage. Like it's probably because that's all they could make in their ramp up. So presumably that, because obviously, the Model 3s, the 32,000 Model 3s they delivered in March is because none of those Model 3s went on boats to go to Europe or Australia because they would have left in February to get delivered in March. So it means that the Model Y is only a third the way into its full production ramp. And if China are going gangbusters on it, it almost doesn't make sense for Tesla to take some of those cars and send them to Australia. As much as we want them to be here. Because, there's probably about a third of the people in this room would order one in a heartbeat.
Yeah. What will probably happen is because
Not
there won't be a...
No, because Steve's already got his new car and he doesn't want to depreciate it already.
Sure. And now I've got the floor. It's 11 o'clock over here.
Oh, yes.
Junior. So I'm going to say good night to everybody. It's great talking to you. And
no worries, Steve. Thank you very much for...
We'll try to tune in next Wednesday.
Look forward to it and safe travels.
All right. Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Yes,
good night. Me too. It's 11:30 where I am, so I'm going to go.
Oh, you're a stayer. I'm not.
All right, Paul. Lovely to have you on too. Have a good evening. And
thanks, Harold.
Sometimes
I'll see you as well, Harold.
No worries, Tom. Cheers. Take care. Thanks for being on.
Bye.
I was just going to say, Harold, with the Y, that probably won't reach full capacity, until probably early next year, I would imagine. And so, and even at full capacity, they might, as you said, they might have the demand purely in China domestically. So, you know,
Tesla, Giga Texas and Giga Berlin will be up and running by then with the Ys.
Yes, but that won't change the effect on Shanghai because Shanghai doesn't send any Ys. Sorry, Shanghai doesn't receive Ys from anywhere else.
No, but we might.
Sorry?
We might.
Oh, no. There's no, well, look, that's a good point, but I doubt that that Berlin would send us Ys. Yeah.
Are they making right-hand drive ones yet?
They will for UK.
Or will they make the UK bleed until they get them from Shanghai?
Or will he build a UK gigafactory?
The UK is not big enough, Nigel.
What do you mean? It's got 3 times the population we have.
Yeah, we haven't got a gigafactory.
And that's 3/5. I mean, that's compared to Europe with 300 million.
India's right-hand drive, isn't it?
Yes.
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 Yes,
if they know which side of the road to drive on.
Don't you just go like fish in a school? Like it's all, yeah. Well, I mean, there is ructions about India having some sort of production facility. But, you know, they don't have the market. Well, they have a huge market, but they don't have the premium market to pay for those cars yet. But yeah, so I doubt that we'd be getting Ys. There'd be any right-hand drive Y. Well, yeah, that's a point.
Yeah, I can't see the Indian market. I mean, there might be a few thousand people that can afford a 3 or a Y, but I see that as a manufacturing hub rather for South Asia rather than domestic supply.
Well, there's a billion people there. So look,
there are, but I mean, GDP per head is like
pretty
tiny.
low. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think the Model Y is most likely to come from Shanghai. And well, having said that, I mean, they are sending Model 3s. So I don't know whether the demand for Model 3s has abated or Tesla have just decided to send some of the Model 3s from Shanghai to us, which they clearly have done. Unless they're going to reverse that flow when Giga Texas is up and running. Although, has it been confirmed that they're producing Model 3s at Texas, or is it just Model Ys? Because I've heard a lot of Model Ys for the eastern seaboard of the US.
Yeah, I thought Texas was just going to be Y and Cybertruck.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. So
and semi maybe.
Yeah, but I thought semi was going to be made at Nevada at the original Gigafactory.
At the battery factory.
Yes, yeah, Gigafactory 1. I think. But that doesn't stop them from building more semis at Texas later because it's such a huge land area. It's ridiculous. You know, it's just massive. And there's talk that they're going to move SpaceX or put another headquarters for SpaceX on the same land as well, or on a section of that same parcel of land. Because it makes sense, although Boca Chica is miles away from Austin, like it's the other corner of Texas. Perhaps it makes sense, especially if Elon Musk is going to be living there more often or longer for tax reasons and other things. But yeah, Pete, I'd love to think it's going to be Model Y this year. Yeah, I really would.
It's not looking good, is it?
No, and Tesla's selling so many 3s. And I dare say there's probably some people buying a 3 because that's what's available.
Yep.
You know?
No doubt.
My friends, yeah, Joe and Seb, they're case in point. Like they would have bought a Y, you know, with the kids and that, you know, for 100%. But You know,
we would have got a Y instead of the 3.
Sure,
well.
yeah. And I think they were even considering like, oh, you know, should we wait? But I think they're pleased that they didn't, because, you know.
Oh, well, that was, I forget the gentleman's name, but when he said one of his regrets was that he hadn't bought it sooner. And it's like, that is the universal, sorry?
Dave.
Yeah, Dave, yeah. That's that. I was going to say that is the single regret that every single Tesla owner has, is they didn't buy their car sooner.
Absolutely.
And many of us didn't because of circumstances. You know, we waited, or we hummed and hawed,
and even, you know, that's something that's the conclusion that I came to after, you know, 6 months or so, and I waited for the 3. And I was arming and ahhing because it was taking 3.5 years, and I had the Model X on order. But the Model X.
Oh, did you really? Okay, I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, I paid the $6,000 back in.
Far out.
The $6,000 deposit. When was it? Would have been. It was before the. Would have been 2015. It was before the Model 3 was even
revealed.
Revealed, yeah. But yeah, and I just couldn't justify the cost. But yeah, now looking back at it, and, you know, having had the 3.
Please tell me you could roll that into the 3.
Oh yes, oh yeah, no, you could get your money back. So the whole $6,000 was completely refundable. Yeah. So I just sent him an email. It took him about 6 weeks, but yeah, got it all back.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, even, you know, I wish I went for the Model X back in 2015.
Yeah, but then you would have been miserable like other S and X owners where MCU1 was a bit ordinary. And,
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I would have been about 10% miserable and about 90% ecstatic.
Yeah,
it would have been a horrible disposition.
But you had the extra cash to wisely invest in Tesla shares. So, in fact, your lack of having the Model X at that time has probably more than bought you a Roadster.
Well, I was actually, when I bought the Model 3, I thought, you know, my head tells me I should be putting this money into Tesla shares, and I should just, you know, be happy with my Volt and our Fair Outlander. And, but yeah, my heart just couldn't do it.
Well, your accountant will be telling you that, congratulations, Pete. That decision has saved you many dozens of thousands of dollars in tax.
Well, I would have never paid it because I would have never sold them. So you only pay CGT when you sell your shares. So
this is true.
Unless you're a trader. But yeah.
I think all of us would be significantly wealthier if we'd have just put our money into Tesla shares rather than the cars.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. It's almost as bad as, you know, buying a pizza with 10,000 Bitcoins, you know.
Yeah, actually, when you put it into that perspective.
Speaking of which, Binance, which is arguably one of the biggest exchanges, actually Coinbase is listing on NASDAQ tonight. But yes. Binance has opened up a tokenized Tesla shares. So just quite interesting.
What does that mean, sorry?
So you can, I mean, it's not a novel idea. What's different about it is that it's Binance is primarily a crypto exchange. Well, that's pretty much all they are. Okay. But a bit like you can buy Tesla shares through Robinhood or whoever.
Oh, yes.
You're not actually buying the shares themselves because you don't actually have voting rights, etc.
Yep.
But you can buy a fraction of a share.
Same. Yeah, I do. Yep. That's what I've done through Stake.
And Stake is the same thing, exactly.
It's an ETF, isn't it, Pete? Effectively.
It could be anything. It could be a contract for difference. It could be a
I mean, they're holding the share, and they're giving you a slice, a portion.
You're assuming they're holding the share. They might not be. So, and they probably wouldn't be holding a share that would be designated to you. They'd be a pool, and they'd be hedging their exposure. And they could do it in a million ways. You know, they could do it through options, futures. They could do it indirectly. So, but yeah.
Yes, still on record. But it's good that there's just, I mean, you know, I think one opportunity that Tesla missed was they did a 5-to-1 split. They really should have done a 10-to-1 because that would have made it a bit easier. And really, their shares now are just as unaffordable almost as they were before the 5-time split.
They just need to do another 5-to-1.
Yeah, and which is what they should have done in the first place. But wasn't there a rule under NASDAQ listing that your share price has to be above $100 and something? Is that I think there was like a weird minimum share price that you had to have. So
right.
Which is a bit strange because maybe it wasn't $100, maybe it was many dozens of dollars, and if it was below a certain threshold, you would get kicked out of the NASDAQ, which seems strange, but I guess it's just one of those rules. Because they listed at 400 and it wasn't 420 when they did the split. It was something of that 427, I think, post split. You know, after their split, their adjusted price was 427 or something of that order, I think. Because they were about $2,000 when they split. But yeah, they should have just gone 10-to-1, and then it would have made it easier. But like you say, Pete, maybe they'll do another.
Yeah, it definitely can't be 100, Harold, because just having a look, Intel is at 64 at the moment.
Yeah, right.
And you know they're the
bluest blue chip.
Top 10 of the NASDAQ. Cisco is at $50. So if there is a threshold, maybe it's $10.
Yeah, right. Okay. Share price.
Yeah.
Minimum share price NASDAQ. Oh, okay. Well, that's at time of listing is $4. That's for the NASDAQ. Oh no, sorry. This is S&P 500. Sorry.
And actually, I'm having a look at Sirius. So Siri is actually the stock symbol, and they're at $6.
Here we go. You can own the. No, that's not right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to.
Maybe it's $1 then, or whatever it is.
Yeah. No. Anyway, I think there is a minimum threshold, and obviously, you know, because I don't know why they did 5-to-1. That's a weird split. I mean, I know they're not really big into decimal stuff, but 10-to-1 seemed a lot more natural because it would have been easy to work out. But anyway, but their shares have now opened, and they are at roughly level 776, which is good.
So, Harold, just before I go, did anybody watch the Kim Java video on the new rims as a replacement for the 18-inch aero wheels?
I'm going to admit
I watched it. Yeah,
I haven't watched Kim for ages, but I did see those aero wheels. I watched it today, Nigel.
Yeah.
I watched that a few days ago, and they were the Orbitals. I actually participated in that crowdfund over a year ago.
Yeah.
And so
they look really good.
Yeah.
But it's $265 American plus $90 American delivery to Australia.
Mm-hmm. I remember they were quite a bit cheaper in the crowdfund. When I got them, there's two versions. There's black and silver. I can't remember.
Yeah, the silver are more expensive.
Yeah, I think I ended up going for the silver ones from memory, even though I've got a black car. So
yeah, 285.
Yeah.
Interesting how they're putting a 19-inch cover on an 18-inch wheel. So you
Yes,
can't get curb rash.
It'll cover up my curb rash, yes.
And it's as efficient aerodynamically as an aero wheel.
Or slightly more efficient, only maybe 1 or 2 watt hours per K. But
But yeah, I don't know what's happening with that, because I paid for that crowdfund, like I said, over a year ago, and they should have arrived about 6 months ago. So yeah, I've got to dig that up, see what's happened with that. But yeah, I've definitely had those on order for a while.
Yeah, I thought they looked quite good.
Yeah, they
but
do.
I'm not spending 500, 600 Australian to get them here.
Yeah, no, that's not cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the freight's the killer. That's very frustrating. It's the same as, you know, a lot of the stuff from China. You just get killed on the freight, especially if it's charging cables, charging adapters, anything that's heavy.
Because they've got both the bulk, because you can't really bend the cable, and the weight as well.
And they universally send it by air, and air you're paying by kilo, and it's as we know, air freight at the moment is very fraught because there aren't many aeroplanes flying, so it's all very expensive.
I've had stuff shipped from the US by myusa.com, and they strictly charge by weight.
Yep.
And they're quite reasonable.
Oh, unless they probably have a cubic content too.
Nope.
So
nope.
No,
Strictly
really.
by
So
weight.
there's no cubic factor.
Nope.
Wow.
Not from my research. No.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
So aerogel is really, really cheap to get out from USA. That's a
Richard,
joke.
I noticed this a couple of weeks ago when I look in the background. You've got a curtain there, which is just on your right-hand side, and looks like a face. I just can't unsee it. The way you've got the curtain folded.
Looks like a face.
No, don't move it. He was perfect. No.
I think.
Yeah, there it is.
Pete, I think you're a loony, mate. But losing at the drag has just affected you.
I'm not arguing that. That may well be the case, but
I can't see the face. Sorry, there's one ugly one here. It's bad enough. You don't.
No, it's just to your right. There's the nose and the eye.
Oh,
okay.
It's to your
side? This side?
That side.
Yeah, that side right there. Yep.
Profile.
Oh, right.
You can see the nose, and then the eye is the.
Oh yes, I see.
backing.
Oh, that's great. I've never seen. Oh, thanks. You've made my day.
So shout out to Damon, who watches us later in half-hour slots. You can pause and analyze it, zoom in, Damon, and everyone else watching, Joseph, Ashley, and others. Joe.
See who's got the biggest nose. Me on my curtain.
Just turn to the side a bit, Richard. We can do a comparison.
That's right. Turn to your right there, Richard.
I don't need to do that. That's fine.
Oh, dear.
Easter Island's statues.
It is an Easter Island statue. That's exactly what it is.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah.
It is.
It looks a little bit like one of those Pink Floyd album covers as well. It was one of their less popular albums.
I've got nothing to say.
I've actually got a video from a hotel at Basel in Switzerland where they've got like an Easter Island based tissue holder where when you pull the tissue, it comes through the nose of this sort of Easter Island figurine. It's a classic. It's an absolute classic. Anyway. So has anyone else got any questions, comments, experiences?
I just
Peter.
have.
Sorry, the other Peter. Peter Harris. I think you were going to say something about something you're working on.
Geez, we've got four Peters.
So yeah, Peter Harris. Yeah, the Harris.
4 out of 10 are Peters on this podcast.
I was hoping to go back to the wheels and tyres, because I was under the impression that the performance rim, the performance car cannot take the other smaller 18 and 19-inch wheels because the brakes are too big.
Yeah, correct. No, it's the hub. The hub it's got a hub-centric thing. It's different. So my 18-inch wheels are aftermarket that specifically fit the performance variant.
They will.
Yeah.
Okay.
What Jürgen and John, what they ended up doing is having to shave.
Yeah.
And I think Nigel did that as well. And Darren, they ended up having to shave the
inside of the wheel a little bit.
Was it the inside of the wheel or the
shave the brake housing?
No,
the brake housing, yeah.
But it's also the inside of the wheel. On the hub, there's a little step in the hub on the performance brakes, which are bigger.
Yes. Now, so therefore, you can't put an ordinary wheel like that spare wheel that you had showing there before, that kit thing.
Oh, it's made to fit them all.
Yes. So that modern spare tyre kit, Peter, will fit your car. It'll fit all Model 3s.
Okay.
From SR Plus to Performance.
Yeah. So that has the rim and the tyre and the jack.
Yes.
The whole everything.
And the wheel brace and
that's what. And there's some nuts.
It's got nuts. The nuts are different, aren't they?
I don't know why, but yeah, it's got 5 wheel nuts in it.
But is that because the wheel nuts are different from your aero or performance nuts, perhaps?
Don't know.
Pete, it's not a cheap option, so I think it's about, was it $800 or something?
$850.
It's about $250 American, and then you got to freight it. Then yeah, it's about $800 when you get landed.
Whereas Brian Cleaver, he ordered from Tasmania. He ordered so this was an 18-inch one, but what did we pay? So we went halves. We bought one each, and it came with an aero cover as well. But yeah, it was like $150 or something. And
Peter Harris, have you got a performance?
He's got a performance, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a different kettle of fish, totally.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you might be able to get a performance wheel for, a second-hand one. There's
I've got 4 of them. You can have them for $2,000 each, no problem.
Well, there you go. Mates rates. Yeah, there's a Facebook page called, what's it called, Harold? Tesla Parts or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something like that.
I guess so. I'm not sure.
Yeah, which is quite, I can't remember what it's called, but quite handy if you're looking for parts. And that's where Brian and I found these wheels. So, you might be able to, get a second-hand performance wheel. You might be able to jag one at half the cost.
Okay. Well, there's a couple in Perth at the moment for $600. But that's just
there you go. Yeah, there you go.
And it's exactly the same profile as on my car. But there's no tyre. That's just the rim.
Oh.
So then they've got to put a tyre on it, which would cost a couple of $100, I suppose. So I'm looking at about $800.
The modern spare setup is excellent. It's in a bag. It's got everything in it. Throw it in the boot, go on a trip, pull it out of the boot, shove it in the garage when you're not using it. It's all there. So very convenient for the same cost.
And so that cover, Richard, has that got the jack and everything in there?
Everything's
Is
in
it
that
inside
bag.
the wheel of the wheel, is it? Or?
Yep.
Yeah, it's actually a really good setup. I'll try and just bring it back up again.
I actually found that well space really handy. So we took a full-size spare to Calgary last week, and I was able to fit quite a bit of luggage and things in that space.
Where did you put your jack?
Oh, just in the front. I just got a low profile jack.
Yeah.
So it's tiny. But it just fitted in there.
So does someone in Australia sell these, or you have to get them from the States?
States.
Yeah. But what you could do if you want, Pete, is have a look at the one the club has, just to suss it out. I think one killer part of it is that it's in a bag with a carry handle.
And a strap, a shoulder strap too.
On a strap, yes. And everything is in it. So you can literally, like Richard said, just take it out of your garage, put it in your boot, job done, go for a drive, come back.
Hope you never need it.
Yeah.
And The Tesla totes, as they call them, which is the bag for the spare wheel, you get two. So they're only available in the US shop. So I ordered two, one for Brian, one for me. And I think they were about $60 or something US for two of them, or $50, something like that. But they come with a handle and a zipper and the whole thing as well, and a Tesla logo.
What are they for?
It's just a spare wheel cover.
Oh, yeah, but if I bought that, I wouldn't need it. It's already in a bag.
True, yeah. No, I'm just saying if you wanted one for the, if you were going to get an original spare wheel.
Hey, Harold, one other thing you didn't show is the tow bar and the bike rack and all that.
Oh, yes, apologies.
That's right.
I'll bring that up. I had to actually go and buy a codec for Windows because I couldn't do the HEIC over encoding. So that was a pain. Let me just that's images for self-installed Stealth Eco Hitch.
Oh, yeah, I'm interested in this. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the images are... Oh, I've got to show another video too later on. So that's looking at the back. You can see Richard taking a good photo there.
Oh, yeah. I haven't washed it underneath either. So that's
Did you drive through some milk or something?
Yeah, no, I don't know what that was. So that's where the little hatch removed. And then Harold's going to show us another picture in a second.
I'm going to try. Why isn't it going? There we go.
So that's the hitch itself. That's the bit you can't see, but it's there. And that's mounted to the back chassis.
Nice.
So presumably it's mounted across here. There's a beam that goes across, and then it's or tubing or whatever, and then you mount it.
It sits inside the crash structure. The crash, or above it. That's one of the. So you've got all the wrong order here, Harold.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
there you go. So that's what you see if you're driving around. If you want to leave it on.
Yeah.
But that cover is obviously left off. That's what that takes 2 seconds to get the cover off to expose it. No, go back. That one that just slides up, and just bolt that in. And that's it if you want to tow something.
But that doesn't come with it because that's just a standard Heyman Reese 50 mil.
Yeah, I just bought that off eBay.
I noticed you've actually glued these carabiners to it.
Well, I've welded them. I didn't glue them.
Sorry, not glued, welded. Sorry, yes.
I thought that'd be the easiest way to do it. Yeah.
Except, of course, that means that all the weight on the chains comes on these levers or near.
No, it doesn't.
No?
I wouldn't. No, it's about where your arrow is. No, yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, about there. Yeah, okay.
And this is only to tow a box trailer. So that's the bike rack. That's what I got it for, actually.
Yep.
So my homemade e-bike. There's a modern spare.
Nice looking Powerwall there.
Yeah, and my modern spare in the corner there. You can see that. That's where it lives.
Just here.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that's the photos. I'll just try and go back if I can. So what you haven't showed is the process of actually taking off your back bumper.
Yeah, well, that'll take more than 5 minutes that I took this morning. But it's not a big job.
Yes.
And there's so many YouTubes of it that it's not a problem.
What was cool is, I'm just kind of try and bring this up, is, here we go. I got Richard's original video. Which, sorry. When did you send that, Richard? That was yesterday. Inbox. And it was all portrait. So shout out to you for doing a good job on the subsequent videos. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, no worries.
So what we'll do is we'll put that on our YouTube channel in the pro tip section. Cool. We might get you to do a bit of a voiceover on some of it.
Yeah, I don't want to hear my own voice. Thanks, mate.
I will go and there was some video. You know the lady that was on Galileo Russell's FSD trip.
Oh, I was just about to watch that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, she's a big YouTuber apparently. And she's got some great tips on how to film stuff and how to do and actually edit. And a lot of YouTubers actually use out-of-house editing companies. And I think it was called something like not Freebie, but Freebie or some weird name. And they're a bit like Airtasker or a lot of those companies, online companies, where you can just farm out your editing, even to the point of voiceovers. So you can just get it voiced in some, silky smooth voiceover voice professional actor for not very much money. But anyway, and apologies for those that have watched the pro tip videos, because it's got yours truly doing this monotone. Oh, and then to open the charge port, you do this and you press this button, and it's pretty ordinary. But
it wasn't you who inspired me not to do a voiceover, by the way, Harold. And they were very short because I had to email them to you, and I didn't know how much bandwidth it would take. And sorry, they're in Apple format, but I'm an Apple user, so.
Yeah, so am I, but I freaked out when I saw HEI something, whatever, EIF or whatever. It's like, what? I realized that was like high density. Yes.
I just did it on my iPhone, so I don't know what that was.
Yeah. No, there's a setting on your iPhone for photos, which is to store them for maximum compatibility or maximum
compression.
Space or maximum compression. Yeah.
I just want to send you small files. So anyway.
Well, it cost me $1.49 on the Microsoft store to buy the codec, but it's all good.
You bought it now. You don't need to do it again.
Precisely. Well, yeah, that's right. That's the last time you sent me a photo.
Yeah. And in 5 years, that $1 investment could have been about $50,000 Tesla.
Yeah, no, they're not going to do that. No.
No, I'm kidding.
What do you reckon, Pete? Three bag or 4 bag?
Which, Pete, is that?
How about 25? What's the share price? What's it going to be? Let's call it $800 today. Are we going?
No, it's come down now. It's only up $2.76 at the moment.
Okay, so what time frame are you talking?
2025. Let's go 4 years.
10 times.
Really?
10 bagger. 10 bagger. It's going to be the world's biggest company by a country mile. This is not investment advice. You should speak to your personal financial advisor.
It's funny because my financial advisor bought Tesla shares.
Oh, good.
After I sold my car and I couldn't get my car, so I bought some Tesla shares. I told him, he said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And then I finally found out he bought some himself. And he's done very well. So that was
he must be the one. He must be the one in Perth that bought Tesla, because most brokers, wouldn't touch him with a barge pole.
He's very bright, this boy. He's a good. I've known him for 25 years. He's very clever. He's retired from that now. He's got a farm that grows avocados and grapes now. So just for fun.
Harold, before I disappear, whereabouts can I have a look at this wheel, please?
In real life or on the web, Peter?
In real life, I'd imagine. Peter, where do you live, mate? You've been muted.
He's up Joondalup way, but you're muted, Pete.
There we go. Fat fingers. Harold, that tyre wheel kit thingamy-bob, did you say you've got one? Oh, Harold's muted now.
Richard's got one.
I've got one. Do you want me to show it to you sometime?
But Harold, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I've just put my address on the chat there, Peter.
Oh, okay. So you're out down around.
If you can't see that, you're on mobile, aren't you? Or are you on a laptop?
No, I'm on my phone.
I'll text it to you.
Should be able to press.
I'll text it to you.
All right, thank you.
Peter's question was, have you got the modern spare one?
Yes,
Harold.
Yeah. The club's got a modern spare Model 3 spare kit.
Same as mine.
Yep, and it's also got a Model 3 aero wheel tire and rim, and a jack, and it's got a Model X spare tire as well. The one thing we don't have is a Model S spare.
Pete, you can look at mine, or I can show it to you. I'm in West Leederville, which is a bit closer than Harold.
Oh, okay. I'll work in Osborne Park. That'll work.
Oh, will you be working tomorrow?
Yep.
Well, I can bring it over. I've got nothing on tomorrow. I can show you.
Okay.
Can you duck out of work for 2 minutes?
I own it. Yes, I can do whatever I want.
Well, okay. What's your address, mate? And I'll bring it over sometime. Show you.
Just send it to him. Don't say it on video, so it's not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Sorry.
Actually, hang on a sec. Just all right.
Thanks,
I'll pause, so it's all good.
You push the record back on now.
Yeah, no, we're back on record. It's all good. So, Damon, don't worry. What you missed out on was an awesome inside joke about watermelon red cars.
He's just teasing you, Damon. He was nothing of the kind. He's just
talking about
perpetuating that nonsense that he started a few weeks ago.
Talking about watermelon red, do the red Tesla's Model 3s that are coming out of China a slightly different coloured red to the American ones? They look sort of more purpley, pinky, sort of, unless it's the sun.
Or cataracts.
You know, I've had them done.
Or lack of cataracts. That's a really good question.
It looks just a slightly different colour.
Yeah, right. Is your car red, incidentally, Peter?
No, mine's white.
So did you see the two side by side, or you just remembered what it looked like?
Well, they were sort of about 20 metres apart, but it could have been the sun shining at a different angle. I'm not quite sure, but they certainly look quite different. Anyway, maybe it's the same.
It's interesting because the paint, I would have thought, should be the same within limits.
Haven't they got a different paint system in that one? I think that's a more modern paint system there.
Maybe.
I heard that in one of the factories. I assume it was there, but I could be wrong.
Berlin is supposed to have a really good paint shop, apparently. I'm not sure about Shanghai, though.
I know one of them had this new U-Butte whiz-bang paint system, but I'll have to say good night, and my battery's just about stuck, so see you all later.
No worries. Okay. Take care.
Peace, Pete.
Cheers.
See you, Peter.
Yes.
So we had two Richards and two Petes.
No, we had more than two.
No, we had three Richards.
4 Petes. We had 4 Petes, 2 Richards, and a Nigel and a Harold, and that was it.
No, we had three Richards and 4 Petes.
But only one
Richard
Harold.
Cooper, Richard Chapman, and
Richard Cooper
and Richard Cooper. No, it was the last Richard that just left. What is his surname?
No, he's Pete Ship, Peter Ship.
Oh,
so we had 4 Peters, 2 Richards, a Harold and a Nigel.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
So
and I get so confused when there's another Nigel on here, and people go, "Oh, and Nigel's done this," and I'm going, "No, I bloody haven't."
Well, that's why the Petes are always confused.
Yes,
I don't know who we're talking to.
Well, now you know how we feel, Nigel.
Yeah, but you've got a common name.
Ich bin Nigel Farrier.
You're right.
Dear.
Well, now all we need is a couple of Ronnies.
Like two of them.
Indeed.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they
two Ronnie short.
Or have they not? One has, for sure.
Well, no, they've both gone upstairs.
Oh, have they? They both graduated. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well,
Funny buggers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's getting late, guys. I'm going to go.
Yeah, I think I'm going as well.
It might be a good time to sort of like, we'll call it a night. For everyone watching, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Again, shout out to Damon.
Subscribe to Patreon.
Patreon? Yes. Patreon.com/Tokwa. Please do.
No, / Nigel F.
Yeah, something like
that. We know what the F stands for now.
Oh, and very quick on a closing note, our go-kart electric thing is sold out. So that's awesome. We've got a full house. And so we'll be sending out the...
that reminds me, did you get the email?
Yes. Yeah. So I'll be sending out the all the details to them. So they'll be sending everyone that's booked a
registration
waiver. Yeah.
It's not actually for the disclaimer, that link. All you do is just put your details in there.
Oh,
but
so
it pre-populates. Yeah, pre-populates your details. So when you're on site and you've got to sign the disclaimer,
it'll be quicker.
It'll be much quicker. So rather than having 48 people, all line up and having to,
So you just pick your name. You'd probably just have a list and pick your name, and that's it. Then it brings up your details.
And it's pretty straightforward. There's just that one where it says, are you part of a group, which might confuse people. So yes, we are part of a group, but just leave it as walk-in. Walk-in is the default. And there was something else. Oh yeah, so how'd you hear it? So just put word of mouth or whatever. And you can put your own photo up, and you can have your own racer's name, which will be displayed on the big screen next to the track.
Oh, so we can have aliases.
Yes, you can have your racer's name, which can be whatever you like.
And if you don't take your own helmet, you need to buy a balaclava for a couple of bucks.
I don't even know if they let you use your own helmet. So you might want to give them a ring and check about that. But you don't have to buy the balaclava. It's part of your fee. So they'll give you the head sock for free. They usually charge $3 or $5 or something for it. $5, I think. $5 or $7.
Cool. So so the good news is it's sold out. So it's going to be a full house, and obviously heaps of spectators as well who are free, who get in for free.
Yeah.
So that's the 2nd of May.
2nd of May at 3 p.m. sharp. So 3:30 p.m. is when the driving starts, but they've got to do driver initiation and safety briefing and, sign the disclaimer and all the rest of it. So, 3 p.m. sharp. So, and there's a nice big car park at the front. So, maybe we can park all our Teslas out the front, and it should be, I'll try and get there a little bit earlier, try and take some video footage as well.
Awesome. And that will be followed 3 days later with a casual meetup at, I think it's the Guildford Hotel on the Wednesday evening. So we'll have a double Tesla session.
Is that rebuilt, is it, the Guildford Hotel? Is that the one that burned out?
No. That's
Rose and Crown?
See you guys. I've got to go.
No.
Rose and Crown, is it?
I think
see you tomorrow, Rich.
I've got the email for it.
Not the Rose and Crown?
No, it is draft emails. Here we go, drafts. And it is
I know the one.
5th of May.
Right near the railway crossing.
It is the Rose and Crown. Apologies.
Oh, okay.
It's the Rose and Crown.
Yep.
I'm just going to try and pop it out so I can maximize it and put it up on the screen. Yeah, so it's the Rose and Crown. on Wednesday evening, the 5th of May, from 6:30.
Okay, good.
So that's an email I prepared much earlier, and I'll send that out the week before. Actually, it'll be on the Thursday after. It'll be the day after the previous casual meetup.
When's that?
After the Ask Us Anything. Sorry. So it'll be on the Thursday, the late April. So we've got on the 2nd of May, we've got the racing, and then 5th of May, casual meetup. So I usually do the casual meetup because it says this Wednesday evening. I do it on the Thursday, so it doesn't confuse people. The Thursday before.
Okay.
So for completeness, that will be on the 29th of April. I'll send that email out. Because if you send it out too far in advance, people forget about it.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't put it in a diary or your phone or something, you'll forget that it's on.
I even forget to look in my phone when I put things in. But anyway.
Yeah, well,
that's up near Ross's Discount, isn't it?
It's not far from there. That's right, Nigel.
It's in the other street.
Yeah,
it's 105 Swan Street. To be honest, I'm not that familiar with it, but
depends which way you're going. If you're coming back from Midland, you come back past Guildford Grammar School. Don't turn left and go over the railway line. You keep going till it sort of does a bit of a split, and then the Rose and Crown's on that corner.
Yeah, I know the Rose and Crown, and it's not far from Ross's Discount. So for those of us that travel a long way,
especially if you live in the southern suburbs, it's pretty close to Ross's Salvage.
Yes.
But if you live at the Rose and Crown, it's a fair walk.
Yeah, true. It is, because it's not that close, really. But yeah, it's not far.
You got to go over the railway line, and you can't go over that everywhere.
Yeah, true. Oh, Swan Street. Yeah, no, it's actually, it isn't that far. It's so Ross's is there, and Swan Street is here, and the Rose and Crown is somewhere. Not exactly sure which. Sorry,
on the left there. No, almost there. Left. There. Rose and Crown.
Oh, well, it's the one that says Rose and Crown. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Funny that, isn't it?
Funny that. So it's actually not that far, to be honest. But then it wouldn't be good to leave your car at Ross's. Well, you have to get back to it after 40 minutes because it'll be full.
I was just thinking if I'm close to empty, I can just top up there for 20 minutes and then drive around to the pub.
Yeah, and top up on a pint or two.
Yeah, right. top myself up after topping the car up.
Yeah.
Yes,
sounds
exactly.
Like
exactly. Cool. Well, on that note, we might top ourselves up with some sleep, which is probably much needed. I need lots of beauty sleep.
Yeah.
Really.
Sorry, guys.
So, yeah, thanks for another great session. It's lots of fun, always is. Thanks for everyone watching later. Damon, Ashley in particular, keep getting well. Joe Seb and Elon, of course.
Techno King.
Scobo, he watches occasionally. Want more charges? Mr. McGowan, we want some charges, please, soon. And everyone else, thanks for watching. Have a good evening and an awesome week, and we'll catch you next week.
Okay.
That's
good night.
See you guys.
See you all. Take care.
Guys. Bye.